you don't know what is what. Yeah. Okay. We're back. All right. So, do my usual group sharing, and then we'll be off to the races. Okay. Just checking here to make sure. Just doing the share here, the usual, the huge, and then we will start making a Mark IV Iron Man suit for everybody that's interested. Excuse me. So, it's kind of nice here in the Chicagoland area. Hopefully everybody was able to get out and enjoy the nice weather. I took a little run/walk. Almost done here. Okay, if you couldn't tell by the title, as soon as I get done doing my shares here, we will be working on a Mark IV Iron Man suit today, starting a new build. And yeah, so there you go. That is what's happening with this afternoon's stream. Excellent. All right, everything seems to be working smoothly. Yes, it is. Excellent. All right, I'm going to close out some pages here. So I have my chat open. If anybody has any questions or wants to get involved in the conversation, if you see me doing something wrong and want me to do it differently, by all means let me know. Also, I set up my cameras a little different. So we've got the forward cam, which I like to call the room cam or the forward cam or the face cam or whatever. And then, move that cord out of the way. Then we have this exciting new view. Ready? Bam! Now you get to see the whole table. Let me know if you like that better. Because I mean, literally you can see it all the way. Pretty much the entire build area. So, anywho, we're constantly doing everything we can to, you know, look our best and do our best and communicate our best and make it interesting for you, the viewer. So, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's go back to forward cam view. So we've got this bin, and then we have this bin, and we have this bin. So I have 3 bins here, and these are all the pieces that it takes to make a Mark IV Iron Man suit. This does not include the helmet and the gauntlets, but pretty much everything else. So this, hello New Zealand. Oh, it's morning. Nice, good. Hope you're having some nice weather over there. And welcome to the Quaran-Stream. So anyway, yeah, this is all. Once all this is glued together, we will have a complete Mark IV Iron Man suit. So the real challenge is, the question is, that's not a piece. Where do we start? I mean, goodness. And I usually have this stuff all separated out. Looks like there's some pieces I didn't cut out yet. And that's okay, these are small pieces. So, fortunately, I know, I should look at that camera. Fortunately, sorry, I'm looking over here at my screen. Fortunately, I know, because I've built about 30 of these, I know what pieces go where. So I think we just need to just start sifting through it. And yeah, so let's do that. Let's see if we can track down. Let's see if we can track down the pieces that we need, and we'll just have to shuffle through some bins. Good day, Jody Nichols Spears. That's my wife, for those of you who don't know her. All right. So let's start pulling pieces out. All right. So this is. I'm going to go down to the table. There we are. These are 5 pieces. I know that, and we need 2 sets of these, so they are on top. I guess that's what we'll start with. That's not a thigh piece. That is a back piece. Sounds like I'm like sorting chicken parts. Yeah, we got thighs here and legs here and a couple of wings. Okay. More thigh. Those are not thighs. That is back. This is, of course, the chest plate. So we won't need that just yet. As for the cod, there's another piece of the thigh. There is our ab plate. I wasn't kidding. Literally everything that we need in these 3 boxes to build a Mark IV. So now you know how much room a Mark IV takes up. Okay, there are some pieces that I know I need that I don't see. We'll put these aside because we'll build those too. There's the biceps. This here, those of you who know me and know how I like to combine templates, this is actually originally with the original templates to create a Mark IV. This was like 5 or 6 pieces glued together, and I figured out how to combine the templates and create a bicep out of one continuous piece. So if we get to that today, you will see that happen. Hooray! In the meantime, oh, same thing with the forearm. So yeah, this used to be like 4 or 5 pieces as well, and now it's all one piece. Wrap it around, put the filler pieces in, instant forearm. It's like a giant 3D puzzle, pretty much. That's all it is. Alright, we're going to have to find these pieces, so let's just go ahead and pull out these major components first. Forearm, we got back, we got shoulder plates, we got the cod piece. Well, it's possible, I guess, that we didn't cut all of the pieces out. We might be short a couple of pieces. No big deal. Nope, I found them. There's one. If there's one, there's two. Should be anyway. It's like digging in the cereal box looking for the toy. Yeah, here, this yeah, I forgot about those pieces. We need that too. There's the other one. Here, let me put it in perspective for you. Alright. This is one small box. I know after three of them you just know which piece is which, but I don't mark them. Actually, no, I don't. And I used to, actually, I own a Mark IV that is currently not here at the moment. I own a Mark IV that I always like to have a suit like on display on the stand so I could be like, oh yeah, that's where that piece goes. But after you've built so many, you literally see these things in your sleep and how they go together and where all the pieces go. Same thing with War Machine. Over here, over my shoulder. Same thing with that guy. Now this one over here I've only built 2 of, but this guy I've built like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these. So same thing, I know where the pieces go. Some would say it's a sickness. And they might be right. But I'll never admit it. Okay, so there's a specific piece that I'm looking for. It's the mirror of this one here. It's a filler that goes into our thigh piece, or our thigh construction, I should say. So like this. Oh yeah, actually I need that. That is another thigh piece, and I need this. So let's do this. Let's go ahead. You know what we could do? I know this won't be really super exciting for you, but as long as I have the pieces and I know what they are, we might as well just kind of like start to sort them a little bit while I'm looking for the piece that I'm looking for. Alright, that's cod, that's chest, that is chest plate, there's a thigh, thigh piece, and that is a shin, there's the other thigh piece. Those are all chest pieces. Thigh, boot, shin, thigh, chest, thigh. Yes. Actually, I never stopped building. But it's been a while since I've glued together a Mark IV, and I have somebody that wants one, so I must. Shin, yeah, it's the shin. Sorry, we're just doing a little sorting because I'm missing a couple of pieces and I, of course, need them. So I figured as long as we're going through this exercise of looking, might as well sort the pieces out in the meantime. Alright, that's a cod piece. We'll lay you right there. There's a chest piece. Boot, 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 shin. And if we have to cut out a couple of extra pieces, so be it. Not a big deal. Alright. So, that's that container. What do we got here? There's 2 thigh pieces right on the top. 3 thigh pieces. Ah, there's one of the pieces I was looking for. Boot, boot. Boot. Actually, I did write on some of these pieces. And the reason is because some of these pieces look very similar to other pieces, and unless you measure them, you wouldn't know exactly where they go. So that's why I measured them. Like this piece here, yeah, that's a shin. There's no doubt about that. So no need to mark that. This is a back piece. Again, unique shape. I know that's a back piece just by looking at it. Back piece, shoe or boot, whatever you want to call it. Inside of the chest plate. Actually, that's the back plate. There's another thigh piece. I'm really just looking for 2 more pieces, and that's one of them. And that's the other piece. There we go. Alright. So I think that's all. And if we need more, then we'll come get them. In the meantime, I'm going to use one of these containers for one area, and that will be the chest. And I don't really need any more containers, so I will just make handy little piles. There's a pile. I'll sort this after we're done, after I'm done doing the stream. And we'll put this mess over here and make a boot pile. Alright, so there we go. You want to make a mark for it? It is a bit of a jigsaw. It's funny that you say that because that's what I said earlier. It's a giant 3D jigsaw puzzle. But it's still my favorite build. So I just keep building anyway until they take my knife and my contact cement out of my hands, and then I'll find another way to do it. I'll chew the pieces off and tape them together. Alright, speaking of contact cement, let's go ahead and refill our jar. Okay. Is this camera view good for everybody? The overhead view, do you guys like that? I'm always looking for a good view that gives everybody what they want in terms of being able to observe. Alright. Alright, don't want to fill it too full because I want to be able to scrape the paintbrush off on the top rung of my wire coil inside there. Yes, I have actually I have a can of xylene and something that I want to try. In fact, I don't know if I'll try it on this build because this is actually for someone, but I think on my next Mark IV build I'm going to mix down some contact cement with xylene, and I've heard it makes a really good flexible primer for sealing up the pores on your foam before you paint. Up until now, I've used Mod Podge and Plasti Dip. But if I can skip the Mod Podge step, I might just do that. Alright, let's take a hit on our sippy sip stuff here. And let's lay our pieces out and get to gluing. This stuff ain't going to glue itself together. Yes, xylene, also known as stuff that's not safe for laboratory animals. Please be careful. It's not safe for really any life form. Good ventilation, highly flammable. Good ventilation recommended. Actually, I'm going to, you know what? I'm just going to move these bicep pieces over here, out of the way. Use exterior all-weather self-primed house paint. Really? Use exterior all-weather self-primed house paint. So like the latex is, I assume what, that's provides the flexible substrate for the, so you're talking about for a base coat? Mod Podge, the spray Mod Podge, I've used the brush stuff too, or PVA glue, which is like Elmer's glue, helps seal the pores of the foam. So my method is to heat seal the foam before I trace it and cut it out, and you can kind of see it's a little sparkly. It gets that sparkly look to it when it's heat sealed, and then the Mod Podge just takes you one extra step of sealing the pores up. Okay, so then you can paint like can you paint like automotive paint over top of that latex, like the acrylic enamel, rattle can, duplicolor stuff? Because if you can, that might be worth giving it a shot. Do some test strips when the weather warms up. Go outside and check it out. Alright, you know what? I'm going to give it a whirl. Give it a shot, see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to, well, how about that? Looks like I cut out extra pieces. Yeah, I did. Alright. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to segregate all my pieces here. And I don't have two of everything because we need two legs. And that there are mirrors of each other because we're building a left and a right. And so far so good. Oh, that is a chest piece. That goes in there. Okay. Yeah, I'm always looking for, now how about, so the holy grail of a paint process, especially when it comes to painting foam, is to eliminate the cracking that takes place when you bend it, you know, when you bend it with the curve. Obviously this way is going to dimple no matter what you do, but so if you were to hit it with a base of house paint and then lay an acrylic enamel on top of that, do you still run the risk of it cracking the paint, or what's your experience with that? Alright, so we've got this, this lays next to that, then we've got these, and then this is the other side, and we've got that, we've got these, we've got one each of these, and this, and we are missing one of these, of course. So, oh lucky us, look at there. It's right on top of the pot. Yay! Okay, so this, all that you see in front of you, is what we need to build our Mark IV. First thing I'm going to do, you'll notice here I've got the slits cut into it, but I haven't hit it with the heat yet. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up with my heat gun, because as much as I can do that now, I want to do it ahead of time before I glue it together, because heat causes the glue to become undone. Same thing here with the back. I've cut some detail lines in there, so I will grab my cordless heat gun in this case. And a battery. For you Ryobi fans. And we're going to open it up with a little bit of heat. Doesn't take much. I like to use this cordless heat gun because it, I've got another corded heat gun. Kicks out about 1200 watts, or I'm sorry, 1200 degrees, and has a tendency, if you spend too much time on the foam, it'll melt it. And this one here, with the settings, or even using it on max and keeping it close to the surface of the foam, I can open those panel lines up pretty wide without burning the foam. So it's one of the reasons I like this particular model. There we go, nice panel lines. Do the same thing at the top of the thighs here. There we go. And there we go. Set that aside, because I'm sure we'll need it later. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the pieces that we need. Let's build the right side first. I'm going to pull all the pieces out for the right. Yep, that's the right side. Pile everything else up over here. Let's see, which one of this is for the right? That's for the right. And then this here is for the, I think that's for the left. Double check. Nope. There we go. This is for the right. That's the right. And that is also the right. That doesn't matter, we just need one. This is for the left. Right. And again, doesn't really matter. That's the right. No, this is actually 10 mil foam, 10 millimeter. This is the ever infamous Harbor Freight foam that I was speaking of actually earlier. Has the texture on the back, as you can see. Yeah, 5 millimeter, in my opinion, would be just a little bit floppy. Okay, I think, yeah, that's for the other side. Alright, looks like I cut out way too many of those. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to pick the pieces we're going to glue together first. We're going to start here. And I think we'll go ahead and build this segment too. What else? What else? What else? What else? Let's see. Do I want to? Gosh, it's always a crapshoot which way I want to go with this. Looks like I was wrong. This is the piece that goes here, which means I need the other side. There we go. Alright, so we'll put this piece aside for the moment. Actually, you know what? No. Sorry. I forget which side that goes on, but it'll show itself once we get to gluing. Alright, so I'm going to put this piece in here, and then we'll glue that together there. This has to go in absolutely last, so we're going to set that off to the side. And same with this piece. We could glue this here. Let me double check my, as they say, check myself before I wreck myself here. Make sure I got the right. Yeah, that's the way that piece goes, because this doubles over, folds over. Alright, so there's our major components, and now we're just going to go ahead and get some glue going on all the pieces. Just before we do that, pretty sure, yeah, this goes over here and then it connects to the other side. Alright, good. So basically, with the exception of this piece, which I have pointing the other way, this goes in here, and then this piece here connects these two pieces, and then you just roll the whole thing together and glue the top on. And I think Jarvis wants to say hello. Alright, you want to come up here? Alright, hold on. We have a visitor. Come on. Come on. Everybody say hello to Jarvis. Yep, that's his name. No particular reason why. Say hi. Yeah. He loves being part of the builds. Actually, he loves just coming up and laying on my lap while I'm building, but it seems like anytime I'm in the shop, this is his favorite place to be. So, and The rest, he's just kind of a pain in the neck. But he's purring now, which means he's happy. Unfortunately, dude, I can't get much done with you on my lap, so we'll say hi for a second, and then you have to say goodbye to everybody. All right? He's drooling. All right. Well, let's see if we can work here with him on my lap. I don't know. Yeah, the tail's not going to do it, though, bud. Yeah, the tail's kind of a problem. All right. All right, everybody. Oh, hey, stop biting. Stop biting. He knows he's in trouble. Hides his face. All right. Sorry, bud. Go find a chair. All right, let's start gluing some foam together, shall we? I got my fan on. Actually, I got both fans on for some good ventilation. Try not to dribble all over the place. There we go. Got a little glue spill there. Okay, those are set. Just going to keep going around the table here. Getting all of my edges glued. And then we'll go back to the beginning, and after it all dries, and stick it all together. So are you using contact cement, or what are you using? Are you using a different type of glue? I know some people that use super glue on EVA foam. I've tried it, not a fan. I still think contact cement is the best way to go. Clean pieces. Thank you. You mean as far as the cuts go? Yes. I always tell people if you want a good looking suit, two things. You want some good clean cuts and contact cement is your friend. So contact F2. I'm not familiar with that. F2. But I'm curious now. I'm going to have to look it up. And thank you, Christian. Appreciate the compliment. Right. Let's try not to flip the pieces. My favorite blade? I really don't have a favorite blade. I use the utility knife. This is my current knife. It's a Husky from a Home Depot. If you're in the States, if you're outside of the country, it's just like I said, it's just a straight utility knife with the utility blades. But the key for me is to use a sharpener. The moment your blade feels even the slightest bit dull, you want to run your blade through on the coarse and then the fine. Sets you up for some good clean cuts, of course, until the foam dulls your blade, and then you sharpen it again. I can get about half a dozen sharpens out of it before the blade starts to not hold an edge very well, and then it's time to change the blade. Okay, and then a little bit more glue here at the top. Oh, okay. So it's just the brand. Gotcha. So, like, how much is a tube? Of course, I know you're in New Zealand, so I don't know how it'll translate. Unless you know the translation, like, if you can tell me how much in US dollars is that tube of cement, and how far does it take you? Because it might almost be worth having somebody, like this can that I had earlier that I refilled my glue jar with. I can refill my glue jar with that can probably like 4 or 5 times, and it's like $10 US here. I think the price just went up. I think it's like maybe 11 or 12 bucks, but still. You know what? Are you in the States? Sorry, I can't really access your profile here to check. So if you are, the first one I got was from Tractor Freight. It's called Sharp and Easy. This particular one. Hold it up here too. This one though, I got from Menards. Menards. Save big money with Menards. Yeah, Sharp and Easy. So Sharp and Easy is the brand name of this particular sharpener. It's the one. It's small. It's compact. It's the one that I found actually it works the best. I had another sharpener, but I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it did that good of a job, so went back to that one. All right, our pieces are just about dry. I'm going to step away real quick. Be right back. Come here. Alright, you can sit behind me. Alright, that'll work. But you can't sit in front of me. Sorry, bud. Okay, so I need to glue up this piece here because I just remembered that the dip in this thigh actually goes down to the front. Oh, really? Wow, that's expensive. Yeah, it's you get, well, here, let me hold on, I'll grab the can and I'll tell you exactly how much is in it. Whoop. All right, stay there. Alright, so here's my can. It's 32 ounces, 946 milliliters. That's the stuff I use. So, like I said, that's like, I think the last can I bought, it was like 10, it was right around 10 bucks, and then I noticed when I went back and got my last can, it had gone up a couple bucks, so it was, yeah, it's like 12, maybe 13 now, but it's definitely a lot cheaper than what you're paying. Wow. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and start putting our pieces together, shall we? Start from the outside, fold it to the inside. Alright, so there is a nice, that's what contact cement will do for you. Make a nice, almost invisible seam. Put that there. Next will be these two pieces. And I think, you know what, now that I think about it, I'm going to hold off putting this together because if I remember correctly, I actually have better luck attaching this, attaching this to the side pieces and then gluing this in last. So let's do that. In which case, let's go ahead and let's check our glue here. Yep, it's nice and dry. Always cap your glue so it doesn't dry out in between gluing sessions. The key when you attach your pieces to each other here is just to go slowly. Don't get in a hurry. And if you get that outer edge matched up perfectly, then it'll be a nice glue seam. You know what? Occasionally I do. So it just kind of depends, but I'm finding right now. So usually, yeah, sometimes I'll set up what I call a primer coat. But depending on, I don't know if it's maybe the probably most likely the weather conditions and the absorbency of the foam. I will find that I have to do a primer coat and then come in on the, with a second coat to make it all stick. But today seems like we're getting lucky and we don't have to do the double coat, which is nice because that will greatly increase the speed of our build. Alright, so there's our next piece attached to the inside of our thigh. Now this piece goes in here and it appears to be dry, so we are ready. I'm going to go ahead and bend this open just a little bit. I'm going to attach it in the center, and then we'll work out to the ends. something you might try doing as well to cut costs on glue. I've never actually done it, but I'm betting it would work, is if you take your heat gun and you hit the sides after you cut your foam, and again that'll kind of reduce the sponge-like absorbency of it, and then it wouldn't require as much glue to stick it together. It's worth a try. Like I said, I have not personally tried that approach, but it might just work for you. Okay. And weldwood is a very good contact cement. I know some people use barge. I've never actually gotten a can of that and tried it. I probably will here at some point, but weldwood works good enough for me right now. Alright, so there is the inside of our Mark IV thigh. Okay, well that was fun. I'm done. Okay, on we go. Alright, same thing. I'm actually going to start from one end. Just get the outside edge attached first, which for all intents and purposes is going to make it look kind of flat here. But then we'll add the dimension to it once we get the outer edges attached by folding it in on itself here on the back to glue the rest of the seam together. Come back out here. Sometimes I'll burnish on these higher stress seams, which this is one of those. I'll go ahead and just use my thumb to burnish the seam down. Make sure we get a good grip in there. And I said this in this morning's stream. I was talking about contact cement. It does glue and attach itself upon contact, but the cement still needs time to cure, like, you know, anywhere from a half hour to an hour before the seam is at its full strength. And I've found this out because I'll back up my seams with hot glue, and if you do it too soon without holding holding it in place, allowing the hot glue to cool, it'll actually unglue your contact glue seams. So you have a choice. You can hot glue it and then hold it, or you can wait until it cures and then come back and hit it with a bead. We're going to do that. We're going to wait until it cures so we can continue our assembly. Alright, so this, I'll just open it up a bit to get this end in, and I just realized something. I didn't put any glue on the end of this. You know what, I don't know that we need it. It'll actually, there's a little extra glue in there, so I'll take some of that. Alright, we'll give that a second to dry. You know what, let's just go ahead and give it a little dab of its own. It's buried in there. It would probably do just fine without any glue, but I'm kind of a detail person, so there we go. Now we'll be able to sleep tonight knowing that that is glued in properly. Alright, so we'll set that aside. Now, to use beveling to form, yeah, actually, good question. When I first started building these suits, I would cut a piece straight. All my cuts would be straight, and then I'd take the Dremel tool and cut them at an angle and whatnot. And then I learned that if I, through studying the build after I did it, and then looking at the 3D model, and then I also have, I actually used my son's action figure, which is right here. this is actually my reference piece or model for my first Mark IV build. It's a Mark VI, but a lot of the pieces are exactly the same. Through studying this, I realized that if I cut certain pieces at certain angles, that I could just glue them together and they would already be in the shape that they need to be. So I went through all my templates with successive builds and figured out what all of those angles needed to be and then marked my templates accordingly. So now when I cut my pieces out, I'm like, okay, this is a 30-degree cut, and I'll just cut it at a 30-degree angle. This is more of a 45-degree angle, and I'll cut it a little bit deeper. I have a whole system of marking things to know what type of cut it needs to be. If it's a flat cut, it's a big angle, it's just a single carat. And then I mark up all my templates, no matter what I build. So, in the future, I will be offering my templates for pretty much everything I build. It's just kind of putting it all together and getting it all together. And if you see those marks on there, now you know that's what they are. Of course, I'll explain it on the templates too. But a word on heat forming. Yes, I've actually been doing some studying on heat forming techniques, watching some videos, and there's some things that I'm going to be trying when it comes to heat forming. Building an armature underneath out of pieces of foam and then laying over a thinner layer of foam and heat forming it around it. I've also seen people do vacuum forming with foam, which I think is really cool. So yes, there's definitely some stuff along those lines in my future. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and a lot of foam, a lot of stuff that you build with foam, like this for example, this piece. I'm going to put a curve in this just by bending it, okay? And I could take, hit it with a heat gun and use that to help assist with the bend. But as I build this, I'll roll this bend in here and it'll stay long enough, as you can see, for me to complete the thigh build. And then once it's together, it'll kind of help hold that bend and it'll just stay bent like that over time. So in the case of, I build a Thor suit. I've got bracers that I build for Thor. I'll hit those with heat, roll them up, and stick them in a cup, and then when they cool down, they'll be stuck in that position. So, in some cases, I do use the heat forming technique as well. Okay, did we hit this with glue? I don't remember. I think we did. It feels a little sticky. So this is an example of a moderate cut, angled at both angles facing each other, to angling in. So then when we glue it together, it creates that little divot. Now this may require another round of glue, but let's see if I can get it to stick with a little bit of pressure. Yep, I think it's going to stick. So you see how we've got a valley here now? Alright, so that's kind of the start. And let me show you, since I have this Iron Man model here on hand. This is basically the look that we're going for. You can kind of see it here. Actually, let's change cameras so you can see it. Alright, so right here on the inside of the thigh, you can see that there's a valley going from the knee in. That's what we're doing right here. Whoop, stay there, bud. That's what we're doing here. Alright, and then with just a little bit of, once this glue cures, I'll create a curve here, and then another one here. Nothing overly dramatic, but then it kind of helps create that valley in the front of the thigh, like so. I'll give this a little bit of curve to kind of help it ahead of time. And then this here actually curves out and in. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. Oh, I forgot, yeah. Here, I'll give you another shot. No, that wasn't very long. That's my War Machine and my Mark 17 with the wrong helmet, I know. And I keep apologizing to people because somebody needed a Mark 17 helmet. And it was actually on the build that we did, and they were in a rush to get it, so we rushed it out the door to get it to them and included my helmet with it. And I have yet to replace my helmet. But I will, eventually. Alright, so we're laying this piece in here on our thigh, and then we will be ready to start joining these major components to each other. Alright, let's jump back down to the table. Because it's not about the suits that we built before, it's about the suits we're building now. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Alright, so there's the outside of our thigh. Obviously, this is going to glue. In fact, we'll go ahead and set that up now. I'll sharpen my blade here. I've got a little piece that I need to trim off right here that I just saw. Guess my cuts weren't as clean as we thought. There we go. Alright, but at least we caught it before we put the glue on it. Alright, let's go ahead and move this over here for just a second. Actually, I meant to do that for last Halloween. I ran out of time. I actually have the templates. I haven't done my usual conversion on them yet to clean them up, but I do have the templates and the model for the helmet, because I think I'm going to 3D print the helmet. But I do have the templates for that from a very good 3D modeler for the Batman armored suit. But yes, I definitely want to get one of those built. Okay. And I don't know if you were all with us this morning, but we were. Let me go ahead and put the glue on this other thigh piece over here. I'll show you what we've been working on. This piece is always a challenge to put in here. This will demonstrate the resiliency of foam, gluing this piece in place. Yes, I do like that suit. That's the black and red one, right? No, what I'm talking about is the Batman versus Superman, but I do like the Arkham suit as well. So this is something we were working on this morning. I don't know if you can see it back here in the background. If you're familiar with the Saw movie, we just put the final touches on the reverse bear trap from Saw. Pull the light out here so you can see it a little better. So here we go. Probably presents better. Yeah, you can see the details better up here. So this is ready for paint. Got our padlock hanging off here. We've got our timer, our caliper, and our gears. And our fake spring made out of copper wire. So, who wants to play a game? And then here's the foundation. We're making another one too. The one that I just showed you is actually spoken for, and this one's for me because I just want to have one around. Sitting in the shop. Back to the table. Alright. Alright, so let's see what we got here. We glue this piece into this side, then we'll be ready to... Actually, you know what we could probably do? Let me grab these pieces. Okay, see, now that's the... Is that the right? That's the wrong piece. Alright, so I'm backwards, obviously. This is the outside, which means... Yeah, that should be the... No, it isn't. I'm actually... supposed to angle in. Alright, so we'll have to glue that one up. Alright. Okay, these pieces are ready to join. Let's go ahead and attach them. We need more glue on that piece there. You know, there's so many different things out there that you can build. I mean, it's just... And unfortunately, this isn't my full-time job, so... You know, there's only so many hours in the day, as they say. So many cool suits. They'd be like, oh man, it'd be nice to own that. Even if you don't build it for anyone else, it'd be just like, just having it on display, you know. Every time I do a live stream, we just rotate in a new suit. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Now that we have the correct pieces, hit it with some glue there, get them ready to put together. I'm going to put these aside and try not to touch anything so they don't inadvertently stick to something that they shouldn't, like each other. Move that over here, and then get our other piece ready here. Since we're waiting for pieces to dry, I'm going to go ahead and hit this with a coat now, so it'll kind of act like a primer coat. Okay. Alright, and this should be ready to go in, and it is. Now, I spoke earlier of the resiliency of foam, and this will demonstrate that because we have to open this up to get this piece in there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pick my center point here. Actually, you know what? Let's just come from this side over here. That's the thing. The nice thing too is you can compress and stretch foam as necessary to make things fit. So it's good to know that. Like that. halfway there. Now, just compress that down. We got a good seam along that side. There. Come back out here in front. I used to be so gentle when gluing foam together, and sometimes I'd miss the seam, and it wouldn't always come out that great. And then as I got more and more confident with it, I'm like, you can bend the daylights out of this stuff, and it comes right back. And as you can see, that is true. Because there we go, we've got the outside of our Mark IV thigh for the right leg. It's pretty much assembled. Now we'll let that cure for just a few minutes. Lay that right there. Come back to this piece here. And now we're going to start making moves to glue the bottom seams, or the bottom pieces together. I'm going to start over here. So we're going to attach this bottom here, which will attach to this bottom here. And then we'll roll the pieces together, attach these, and this, and this, and then that'll pretty much be it. We'll move on to our next piece. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cue up this next side too, as long as we're here. Okay, there's that. You know what, let's go ahead and prime the inside of these as well. So by the time we get ready to attach it, we'll have a primer coat and it'll be good to go. Not always necessary, but we have a little extra time while we're waiting here, so I just want to make sure that we give it every benefit of the doubt. Alright, there's that. Alright, what else? Alright. This is the toughest part. I hate waiting. And probably more accurately, I hate not having more stuff to glue together. Sometimes you just gotta wait. Take a minute, have a sip. say what we can do while we're waiting. We can go ahead and create our panel lines in our bicep pieces. So let's do that. A little slit here about 1/16 of an inch deep. Looks like I'm missing one of these side panels. No big deal. It's in the box somewhere. We'll get to it. Alright, let's hit it with the heat gun. The deeper the cut, the wider the panel line, but you have to be careful you don't go too deep because then you'll weaken the structure. So I typically don't go more than 1/8 of an inch deep. 1/16 to 1/8 is plenty. Anything deep, anything wider than that, you'll probably want to use a shim and read them, just so you don't lose, like I said, strength. Alright, so there's that. Nope, I got one more. Okay, now those are done. And I'm guessing that these pieces are ready to stick together. Okay, so we're starting to come around to the other side. Clean my edge up here a little bit in these pieces. Okay. And there we go. We've got the left and right side now attached for our thigh. And we'll come up here to the top. Now this would actually be a really good time to go ahead and hit your seams on the inside with hot glue, which is what I like to do to reinforce my suit components from the inside. So let's go ahead and heat our hot glue gun up. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to hit the top here for our two thigh top cheek pieces, I like to call them. With some glue. Okay, both sides. There we go. And this piece actually is ready to attach here. Let's do that because that continues our, gives us a place for the cheek piece to attach up here at the top. Okay, so there's that. All right. Well, we're waiting for our glue gun to heat up and our glue to dry on top here. Let's go ahead and work on our, kind of work ahead of us ourselves here on the bicep pieces. So there's that. This one goes here. And we got a minute, so might as well find the other bicep piece, which must be in this box. Here it is. That wasn't too difficult. Put our panel lines in this piece as well. Foam, okay. So this is foam from Harbor Freight, if you're familiar with the Harbor Freight stores, again here in the US. Excellent starter foam, and just general use, general purpose. I've built 30 Ironman suits and a ton of other stuff using this foam. The only downside is it does have a texture on the backside, which looks like that. Okay, not a big deal. It's not, at least it could be worse. It could be that huge industrial diamond plate that you see on some foams, and even that's not bad. I mean, I first got my start. I got my foam from Sears, and that was the texture on the back of that. But there are a number of suppliers out there of what I would call premium foams. And three that I have found that I enjoy working with, different applications for each, is the foam by Ya Han. That's available at the Joann Fabrics. I'm sure you can order it online too. But the Joann's fabric stores, which carry a lot of Ya Han patterns and cloths, different fabrics and stuff, now carries her foam as well. Another one that I like using is the SKS foam from SKS Props. And I believe he just got a deal with Blick Art Supplies, so you can get it. You can get it on his website, or you can get it from Blick. And then another cosplay foam, thing that you order online. And I've found all of them for different reasons, but probably the one thing that they all have in common. This is a piece of the Ya Han foam, which is what I use to build the bear trap. No texture on either side. Let me hold up there. It's completely flat and smooth. Let me hold it in the light. So there you go. So. But again, like I said, I build Iron Man suits, I built Thor suits, built a Tenya Ida from, was it No Hero Boku no Hero Academia? There we go. I never get that right, first time. I used the Harbor Freight foam. You'll find that a lot of the premium foams have a little bit more density to them, which is great for longevity of the build. The downside is the more rigid the foam, the less forgiving it is when you use it. So it's going to be a little bit stiff, but that's also works in your favor if you're building something where you need it to be, to have some body to it. And like I said, because the shore hardness or the density of the premium foams is a little bit higher density, the builds will stand up to wear over time probably a little bit better. But that said, I've got a Mark IV, which isn't here right now, but I do have the War Machine and the Mark 17 behind me. The Mark IV is actually, the War Machine is the oldest. Yeah, the one here behind me, let me show you again. Boom. That is built with the Harbor Freight foam. And I've had that suit for 4 or 5 years. And it looks just as good as the day that I built it. And there's a little bit of wrinkling here and there on the legs. Like the leg joint, the knee joints, but yeah. No problems. In fact, I wonder, oh, you know what? Yeah, I mean, that's Harbor Freight / Sears foam. This stuff over here, this actually, someone was asking me, I think it was Terry was asking me about foam thicknesses. This over here is built predominantly with 6 to 8 millimeter foam from a Harbor Freight. So 5 millimeter I think would be a little thin, unless again it was a premium foam. Then it might have a good body, but yeah. So I know it was kind of a long answer, but hopefully that is helpful. Alright, let's see if these pieces are ready to attach, and I think they are. So let's get to it, shall we? Attach these top pieces, then we're going to go ahead and reinforce the inside. So we're going to start near the back. these pieces so I don't inadvertently glue them before their time. Alright, coming around the bend here. So there's our top piece. And make sure this is attached on the inside as well. Make sure we've got a good joint. We'll do the same thing here for the other side. So I'm just attaching it to the top. I'm not going to fold it in here on either side until I get this piece in place on the very, very top. Then I like to bring it all together at once. Okay, so remember the hot glue we spoke of earlier? We're going to go ahead and just run a bead here and there down the inside of our joint. Just doesn't have to be anything overly dramatic, it just adds a little bit of extra strength. And looks like we're going to need a couple more hot glue sticks here. Now again, this glue joint isn't really old on the contact cement side, so I'm going to hold this a little bit to make sure that it doesn't come apart on me from the heat. We don't have to hold it for too long, just a little bit. Okay. Foam end templates are a beautiful thing. There's almost a song in that, isn't there? Alright. Wait, probably the hardest thing about, at least for me, about building stuff is just the waiting game. Waiting for glue to dry, waiting for glue to cool, waiting for paint to dry. It's like, come on. Sometimes I just want to say, Jarvis, fabricate, and be done with it. Walk away, come back, 8 hours later, suit's done, ready to go. And if I could teach my cat to build, I would. For those of you who met Jarvis earlier, you'll get that reference. For those of you who don't, or didn't, it will be a mystery. Alright, tell you what, we'll set that aside for a moment, and I'm going to glue these together. These are the fronts of our biceps. Anybody who's watched me build before knows I like to keep the wheels of progress moving. So we went ahead and got these glued up and prepped. So now there's one less thing to do when we go to assemble our biceps. Alright, there we go. One bicep. Ready to go. Yeah. I know. It's kind of dorky, but I'm a bit of a dork, so go figure. Alright, alright. Okay. Ta. Done. Biceps. Ready to, or at least the fronts of the biceps, ready to attach to the rest of the bicep. Alright, that glue is cooled and we are done with reinforcing the bottom of that. Let's go ahead and grab our top piece and put some final closure on this thigh piece, shall we? Alright, looks like we need a little more glue. Up until now we've gotten pretty lucky, haven't had to do a primer coat, but this one I'm not liking its current state. So we'll just put a little bit more. We've got a primer coat on there. Now this will make it all stick together, without a doubt. So the primer coat does exactly that. Fills the pores up in the foam a little bit and preps our surface. Okay. Knocked Iron Man over. And then the next coat will sit on top of that primer coat and be so much more effective. Try to put your arm in it. Alright, there we go. Alright, what to do while we wait? I know. Actually, this is a little too involved for right now, but this is the body of our bicep. So again, I like to take templates and figure out what's the least amount of, or least number of pieces that I can build something with. And the bicep, I have found I can build in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. 10 pieces per bicep. So basically, what we do is we wrap this around here, and then this around here. And there you go. You have the body of your bicep. Actually, I take it back. 13 pieces. 13 pieces total. I just realized I forgot a couple, 3 pieces. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Right now, we need to finish this up because we are arriving at the end of our stream time frame that I set for myself earlier. I want to make sure we get this done. I think we'll reinforce some more joints here while we're waiting for the glue to dry. I'm going to do this one here on the inside. Just a little pressure to hold it together. Like I said, if I were to wait until tomorrow, which I usually do, I usually give it like a day to cure and work on other pieces, and then I'll come back and do the reinforcement with the hot glue. That way I'm not running the risk of ungluing things while I'm not watching, which, you know, it's not a huge deal. I mean, what's the worst I have to do except glue it back together, right? But if I don't have to, I prefer not to. Alright, this glue on top is almost dry. As is the glue here. So we'll give that another minute or two. And we'll hit another seam here with hot glue. Fortunately, the thigh is big enough that I can shove the glue gun in it to do the reinforcement after the fact if I want to. But something like a forearm or a bicep, you got to do it as you go. So sometimes what I'll do with those pieces, I'll build them in stages, do like half a bicep or half a forearm, and then wait a day, reinforce the inside, and then glue it together. And sometimes I'll just do it all at once and hold it as I go. So again, so it doesn't come unglued, kind of like what we're doing here. Alright, the top is looking pretty good, like we're ready to attach everything. So as soon as this glue cools down here, we should just be just about ready. Now, do you have to reinforce these seams on the inside with hot glue? I've had people ask me that before. No, you don't. I actually think the contact cement would be more than enough. But, I don't know. I just like to make sure. And like I said, it's served me well so far. I've never had a suit come apart on me yet. Knock on wood. Alright. I think we're ready. Let's cap this thing off. Literally. So again, working from the outside to the inside. Here's the cool thing too. If you outside of your seam and then fold it down to attach the inside, if you get something misaligned, it's really easy just to unglue it without having to take a knife and head it, all at once. See? I was able to back it off. And if you didn't see it, go back and watch the video later, because I'm not going to do it again on purpose. Okay, so we've got good alignment. I'm going to go ahead and fold this down. Pull this piece outside, because that goes in a little bit. And there you can see we've got a nice edge there. Alright, let's do the other side. I'll roll it down a little bit. Attach it in the back. Work our way to the front. Okay, coming around here. Don't be afraid to bend the foam in weird shapes and angles, because it will come back, I promise. Okay, bend that up, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue these front pieces down and then just lay this over top of it, and that'll finish out our thigh. Right after I make sure that we've got a good joint here along the top. Okay. And remember those curved sides that I told you about earlier? See there? See how it curves nicely on the inside and the outside? It's helping hold that shape automatically now. Alright? Alright. Hello, Rolando. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. Alright. So once again, I'm going to glue down the front here. Alright, I think we're ready, or at least we have the glue on there. We're not ready to stick things together just yet until that glue dries. I'm going to hold this back here so it doesn't attach itself too prematurely. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to pull these side pieces here down and into the top panel, and then pull this down and attach it to the front, and then that'll finish out our thigh piece. The cool thing is too, after you wear these suits a while, because they're foam, from just body heat and repeated wearing, foam suits have a tendency to mold themselves to your body and honestly fit you better and better with each successive use. Alright, like I said, the hardest part is waiting for the glue to dry. The nice thing is, if somebody ever asks what do you do for fun, you can actually say, you know, I like to watch paint and glue dry. It's really a good time for me. And then you can honestly say this is about as much fun as watching paint dry, because that's about how much fun it is. The least fun part of all of this is waiting for it to dry, or in the case of hot glue, waiting for it to cool. It's got a seam here that wants to keep coming undone. So, you're not sure who's boss. Okay, oh, starting to stick all by itself. How about that? Alright, I think we're close here. Everything's starting to look pretty dry. Let's give it a run and see. No, that's still pretty wet there. Probably because I got a little too much contact cement on it. This one here is actually looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it to attach. See if we can pull this one down here as well. When you don't get the bending shapes. I've actually never used DAP. I know that's a filler, right? It's a filling compound. Okay, so we've got our little tongue pieces here, or our little side pieces, I should say. This is the tongue glued in place, and now we're just going to go ahead and attach the tongue to those side pieces, and that will bring the front of our thigh piece together. Just take your time, patience. We'll cut down some of these spider webbing in here from the contact cement. Do I ever use what? Did I miss some? Okay, so as you can see, we have officially arrived at a completed thigh for a Mark IV. Still a little trimming to do. Definitely some reinforcement to do on the inside. And that brings us to the end of not only the thigh piece, but also our afternoon stream. So there we go again, our Mark IV. No, I do not use sealer for the seams. The reason is because I do my best to make my seams as clean as possible, so I don't need to use the sealer. But I do know I have a tube of wrap. I mean, if things ever really get bad, I do have it on hand. But like I said, I find that planning my cuts in advance actually works out a lot better for me than using the sealer. But you can. You most definitely can. And I know a lot of people that do. So, there we go. Alright. I am going to call this particular piece a success. And like I said, this will be the end of our stream for this evening. So, as always, thanks everybody for showing up. If you have any questions, comments, don't hesitate to get in touch, let me know. We do have a group that's attached to this page called Foam Club. That's where we definitely would encourage you to join up, show us your builds, what you're working on, and if you have questions or any kind of comments, or you want to just be part of the discussion, that would be the place to do it. We do have a YouTube channel as well, where if you want to go back and watch the streams, or if you just want to watch us on YouTube, that's great. We also have a Twitch channel. A lot more stuff in the works. We're eventually going to be on Mixer as well, so, and Twitter. So a lot of different options. As always, keep your glue hot and your hopes high. This is James with Laughing Dragon Foundries. Our next stream will be Thursday evening, 6 to 8, and we will see you then.